7 gates.
Appearing at last the glowing eye of golden day.
Driving into headlong flight the
White-shielded warriors from Argos. Against our land they march.
Sent here by the warring claims
For the throne of Thebes.
By Oedipus' son,
Polyneices.
against his brother,
Eteocles.
he who refused to concede the throne in defiance of their agreement.
To share the rule of shining Thebes.
but the great god of war
Ares.
resisted us.
Crushing the Argives.
and dooming them all.
7 captains at 7 gates pay Zeus their full bronze tribute. All but that pair of wretched men.
Born of one father and one mother.
Polyneices and Eteocles, who set their conquering spears against each other, now share common death.
Together,
ISMENE, sister. Daughter of dishonored Oedipus, great Zeus continues to make our family suffer for our father's sins. There is no suffering, no shame, no ruin, not one disgrace that I have not seen in all the troubles you and I must endure. And now, proclamation is declared. Dishonors which better fit our enemies are now being piled onto the one we love.
I've not heard of dishonors. I know that we have lost both our brothers in the battle and now the Argive army is in retreat, but I haven't yet heard of anything else.
I was afraid you hadn't, which is why I brought you here, so we need not fear of being overheard.
What is it you know?
With both of our brothers dead, our uncle Creon now rules Thebes. His first order is to honor one of our brothers with full funeral rites, and the other with utter disgrace. Eteocles, they say, has been buried according to our customary rites to win him honor with the dead in Hades below. But as for Polyneices, an order has gone out to the city. He is to have no funeral or lament, but rather to be left unburied, unwept, left to rot where he fell for the dogs and vultures to feast upon. And now, Creon is coming to proclaim this order to those who have not yet heard. Anyone who acts against this order shall be stoned to death in the center of the city. Now that you know this royal proclamation, if you are truly a daughter of Oedipus and worthy of honor, stand with me against this outrage.
Oh, my poor sister. If that is what Creon has decreed, what can I possibly do to stop this order?
Say that you will help honor our brother Polyneices.
What do you mean?
Help bury his body?
Bury him, in spite of Creon's order?
Yes! I will do my duty to my brother, and no one, not even Creon, will stop me. It is the law of the gods to honor the dead.
Think of how our father died, hated and disgraced, blinded by his own hand. And think of our mother, his mother, and his wife, who took her own life, hanging herself in their shameful chambers. And now our own 2 brothers, both butchered in a single day, slaughtering one another on the battlefield. Antigone, it is only the 2 of us left. Think of how we will die, far worse than all the rest, if we defy the law and act against the king's decree, against the power of the state. You must remember that by birth we are but women, and as such we cannot fight the power of men. Those who rule are far more powerful than you and I, so we must obey lest we bring on even worse punishment. So I'm sorry, but I will ask forgiveness from the dead, but I won't disobey those in power.
Fine. I will not ask again. And even if you decide to join me now, I will refuse your help. I, however, will bury my brother. My honors for the dead will outlast Creon's power. As for you, well, you have clearly chosen to show contempt for those laws the gods all hold in honor.
Contempt! Antigone, I can't act against the state. We must follow the rule of law.
Excuses! I'm going to bury my dear brother.
But what if you get caught?
Oh, don't worry about me, dear sister. Look to your own fate.
For the eternal power of the throne. first with Laius, then again with Oedipus, once he restored our city. When he died, you stood by his children firm in loyalty. Now his sons have perished in a single day, killing each other with their own hands, a double slaughter stained with brothers' blood. And so, now I hold the throne, and with it all royal power. It is impossible to know a man, to know his soul, his mind, and his will before one witnesses his skill in governing and making laws. For me, a man who rules the entire state and does not take the best advice is the very worst of men, and always will be. And a man who thinks more highly of a friend than of his country, well, to me, that is a selfish and corrupt man. Let Zeus know, the god who always watches everything, that I will never stay silent if I see disaster moving against the citizens or threats to their security. Anyone who acts against the state is my enemy. That is why I have announced to all citizens my orders for the sons of Oedipus. Eteocles, who perished in the fight to save our city, will have his burial, with all those purifying rituals which accompany the noblest men as they move to an eternity below. As for his brother, that Polyneices, who returned from exile, eager to wipe out in all-consuming fire his ancestral city and its native gods, the proclamation in this nation declares that he shall have no burial mound, no funeral rites, and no lament. His body is to be left unburied, exposed to the elements for birds and dogs to feast upon. A clear reminder of his shameful fate. Anyone who attempts to honor the body shall be put to death. For I will never allow acts of respect for an evil man. However, anyone who is well disposed towards our state, alive or dead, that man I will respect and show all due honor.
If that is your will, King Creon, you now control all laws concerning those who have died, and those of us that still live.
See to it then. And act as guardian over what has been proclaimed. To this end, I have assigned men to guard the corpse and ensure that my laws are carried out.
Then what remains that you would have us do?
Do not yield to those who seek to undermine my orders.
No one is such a fool, wise Creon.
And yet, many men have been destroyed because they hoped to profit from defying the rule of law.
Oh, Creon, though I can hardly speak with that breath, I can't say it's from running all the way out here since many times to stop to think things over and turn around, turn things back, and stopping again and forcing myself to come to report. Then I turn around again and stopping again. My mind was saying such terrible things to me like, "You fool, why go where you know punishment surely waits, and if Creon finds us up with somebody else, surely have to put to death," and other such things. Having said that, I have grave news, but first let me say that I didn't do it and I didn't see who did it, so it would be unjust to punish me for somebody else's deeds, which I didn't see them do, so I could stop them as I could if I had seen them, that is.
You're rambling, soldier. What is your news?
Sorry, sir, I'm just really worried about what I have to report.
Well, then say it so that you may leave.
All right. It's about the corpse. Somebody buried it here.
What? Who dares to defy my decree?
I don't know, sir, but whoever did it left no trace. When the first man on day watch revealed it to us, we were all bewildered. The corpse was hidden, but not in a tomb. It was just lightly covered with dirt. There's no trace of a wild animal or dog who had come to rip apart the corpse like you had wanted. And all the guards started arguing and accusing each other. Then one man spoke up, and his words scared the crap out of all of us. He said, we have to report this to you, and we can't hide it, and nobody wanted to be the one to tell you, so we drew lots, and I was the unlucky man who won. So that is why I'm here.
My lord, I'm wondering, could this act not be something from the gods?
Silence! Before you enrage me further, revealing that you're not only old, but stupid too. No. I have known for quite some time that the people in the city have been secretly conspiring against me. They don't agree with what I have decreed. They shake their heads and refuse my yoke as is their duty. I know that these guards will think. Such men urge them to carry out this act for money, to breed defiance, and to make it look commonplace amongst all the men of the city. Nothing is as powerful as money. It destroys cities, driving men from family, home, and duty. Money trains and twists the minds of worthy men so they fill their lives with lies and deceit. But to those who carry out such treasonous acts for cash, sooner or later pay for their crime. What great Zeus still holds me dear, then understand this. I swear to you an oath, unless you find the man who did this, unless you bring him here before my eyes, then you will pay the penalty in his stead. So if you hold your life dear, find the man who did this.
But I didn't do it. I'm not even supposed to be on duty.
Liar! You sold your honor for silver and will pay for it with your life unless you bring me the one who buried the corpse.
Sicknesses, he has discovered his own medicines.
The qualities of his inventive skills bring arts beyond his dreams and
lead him on, sometimes to evil.
And sometimes to good.
Thus, all men who act with honor are uplifted by the state to the heights of glory.
What if he takes the wrong path?
Despising morality, filled with pride,
and indulging himself in his power,
then never let him share my home, heart,
or mind.
Well, this is the one who carried out the act. The pauper attempted to rebury the corpse.
What? Antigone, surely they've not brought you here because you disobeyed Creon's royal decree. Tell me you did not bury your brother.
Why have you brought my niece before me?
My lord, let me first say it's a bad idea to swear oaths before the gods. Most of the time when you think about it later, you realize it was a dumb idea. However, I still swore that I'd never, ever come back here again. And yet, here I am. The threats get the crap out of me. And here I am, breaking the thy sword, bringing this girl, cut as she was honoring the grave of the one you had forbidden burial rites.
This girl here, exactly what was she doing when you caught her?
Well, we saw her given that dead man's corpse full burial rites, the act which you had made illegal. When I returned to my post, we swept away all of the dirt covering the corpse so that the damp body was exposed. We then sat on the ground upwind to escape the body's putrid, rotting stench. And then we watched. As the sun reached the height of noon, a sudden windstorm came, whipping up clouds of dust from the ground, filling the fields, as was sent by the gods, filling the air with dust for miles. After a long time passed, the storm came to an end, and that's when we saw the girl. She was wailing a distressing, painful cry. That's as she was when she saw the naked corpse. She let out a terrible limit, and then she swore, calling evil curses down upon the ones who'd exposed the corpse. She began covering the body with fistfuls of dirt. She lifted up bronze junk and 3 times put out her tributes to the dead. When we saw this, we rushed over and seized her. She wasn't afraid at all. We charged her with the previous offenses, as well as this one, and she denied nothing.
Is this true?
Yes. I buried my brother's body.
Tell me, were you aware that I had forbidden the burial of Polyneices' body?
Of course I was aware.
And yet you knowingly broke the law.
Yes, because it is your law, not the law of the gods. And justice, living amongst the gods, set no such laws for men. Nothing which you proclaim will ever be strong enough to override the will of the gods and their unchanging laws. They are forever and always. And so I will not let fear of any human law lead to my punishment among the gods. I know that I'm going to die. And if I die before my time for opposing such an impious law, then I shall welcome it. When one is forced to live surrounded by so many evils, how can she not welcome death? And so your punishment does not scare me. But if I had let my own mother's son left there unburied for the beast to feast on, then shame would fill my soul and I would be unworthy to be called a daughter of Oedipus. So if you think that my actions are foolish, then perhaps I'm being condemned by a fool.
This is her father speaking, rash and stubborn. She has no sense of the necessity for compromise during this time of trouble.
The most stubborn wills are those most prone to break. This girl has always resisted our laws. Here she again displays her proud contempt. Having buried the body, she now boasts of it. She laughs at what she's done. If she goes unpunished after having broken the law, then she will be seen as more of a man than I. No. She may be my sister's child, closer to me by blood than anyone belonging to my house, but she will not undermine my rule and escape punishment. I do despise those who break the law and glorify their crimes.
Oh, I am so sick of the sound of your voice. If it must be done, then take me and kill me and be done with it. I can gain no greater glory than setting my brother in his grave. Everyone here would admit that I am right if they weren't so afraid of your anger. Being king has its benefits. You can say and do whatever you please, and people will flatter and fawn all over you, regardless of right and wrong.
In all of Thebes, you're the only one who believes that.
They share my views, but keep silent through fear.
Your brother fought against our city.
Yes, my brother, born of the same mother and father as me, his mother, your sister. He fought for his right to rule this city, but you now govern through fear.
He was destroying this country, Antigone, not defending it.
That may be, but Hades demands equal rights for both. The one you buried and the one you left to rot in the field.
No! An evil man does not deserve the same honors as a good man.
In the underworld, such actions are no crime.
Antigone, an enemy can never be a friend. Even in death, we must hate those who attack us.
But my nature is to love, not hate.
Then go down to the dead. If you must love, love the dead. No woman will ever govern me, not while I still breathe.
ISMENE, my lord.
So here's the other one. I had no idea that I was harboring such serpents in my house, seeking to rise against my throne. Come here and tell me, child. Do you admit to your part in this crime?
Yes, I helped Antigone bury your brother. My guilt is the same as hers.
No! Justice will not allow you to speak such lies. You refused me when I came to you for help. I acted alone.
Let me bear this punishment with you, sister. I couldn't live with the shame if I didn't share in this with you.
No. Hades and the dead know who honored our brother. Love and honor are nothing but words without deeds.
You are my sister. Do not dishonor me like this. Allow me to show my love for the dead and die with you.
You do not get to share my death and make claims to actions for which you are too afraid to take.
Far gone. What is there left for me in this life?
Ask Creon, since it is his command which you follow.
Why do you insist on hurting me like this?
I'm sorry, ISMENE. I do not mean to mock you.
Surely even now, is there some way that I can help you?
Save yourself.
No, I cannot leave you to die.
Do not worry. It was my choice to die. Be brave. My spirit died long ago so that I may help the dead. This is my path.
Clearly, this child is mad.
My lord, uncle, what good sense people have by birth abandons them when fate fills their lives with such suffering as we have had to endure.
This was her choice. She knew the consequence of breaking my law.
No, you're not really going to kill your own son's bride, are you?
How can I not? Besides, there are other fields for him to plow.
My Lord Creon.
No one would make him a more loving wife than she would.
I cannot allow my son to marry such an evil woman.
You do your son great wrong, Creon.
No more! I'm done with talk of my son and marriage. No more delay. From now on, they are to be treated like the women that they are. They are to have no more liberty to move freely through the city. Even the most courageous men run when they see Hades approach. Therefore, hold them under guard until the time of their execution.
Tasting evil
have happy lives.
For when the gods shake a house to its foundation,
Then inevitable disasters strike, falling upon
Whole families.
just as a surging ocean swell, running before cruel violent winds across the dark trench of the sea, churns up the deep black sand and crashes headlong on the cliffs.
which scream in pain against the wind. I see this house's age-old sorrows.
and the unremembered past.
Some unforgiving Olympian cast
The weight of its vengeance
on the whole race.
So that agony
destruction,
Disgrace,
destroy son and daughter.
and darken their halls with tragedy.
The cold hands of the dead reach out for the living.
and no one aspire.
Another generation
Sheds its blood.
New light is snuffed out.
The young root
Bear
bear
from the same bloody axe, the characteristic sin of Oedipus' arrogance brings its bleak harvest in.
My son, no doubt you have heard the news of your bride Antigone's fate. Have you come here in the spirits of anger toward me, or have you come in understanding of the difficult decision that I have had to make? My son, my love for you remains unshaken. Do I have your support?
Father, I understand the depths of your experience in matters of the state. Will hopefully benefit from it. I could not marry any woman who did not have your love and approval.
That, my son, is how your heart should always be resolved. To stand behind your father's judgments on every issue. That's what men pray for. Obedient children growing up at home who will pay back their father's enemies evil to them for evil done to him while honoring his friends as much as he does. So cut this girl out from your heart. She's your enemy. Let her marry someone else in Hades. Having caught her clearly disobeying my rule in front of the entire city, I must not perjure myself before the Senate. I have no choice but to kill her. A man who acts with justice within his own household will be found a just man in the city. And he who gives special treatment to his family, while holding those he governs to a separate standard, will be despised. And for those of the city who follow the laws, well, I would trust a just man to govern wisely, or to be content with someone ruling him. And in the thick of battle, at his post, he'll stand firm beside his fellow soldier, a loyal, brave man. But anyone who's proud and violates our laws, or thinks he will tell our leaders what to do, son, a man like that wins no praise from me. You see, we must obey whatever man the city puts in charge, no matter the issue, great or small, just or unjust, for there is no greater evil than a lack of leadership. that destroys whole cities, turns households into ruins, and in war makes soldiers break and run away. Son, when men succeed, what keeps their lives secure in almost every case is their obedience. That's why they must support those in control and never let some woman beat us down. If we must fall, let that come in some man's hand. At least then we won't be called inferior to any woman who would let their emotions govern.
If our old age grants us wisdom, let us say that we support such thoughts and actions as wise Creon.
Father, the gods instill good sense and reason in men, the greatest of things which we possess. I could not find your words wrong, even if I were smart or experienced enough, which I am not. But it is also true that some men think differently about these things. And as your son, it is my duty to tell you what they are saying in the streets. Because of who you are, you cannot know what all the people of Thebes say or do, or their complaints. Your gaze makes citizens afraid. They fear saying anything that might displease you. But in the darkness I can hear them talk. The cities have said about the girl. They say that of all the women here, she is the least deserving of the worst of deaths, for the most glorious act of burying her brother, rather than leaving him unburied. To be ripped apart by dogs and vultures, surely there is some grace. That's the dark secret of the people. For me, Father, nothing is more important than your well-being. For any children, there's no greater honor than their father's good reputation. Surely a father can feel the same for his son. So do not let your mind dwell on just one course of action, but that what you decree is right, and nothing else can be considered. A man who thinks that only he is wise, and that no one else can see the things that he can, for when such men are exposed, then all can see how truly empty he is inside. For any man, even if he is wise, there's no shame in learning new things, being open to other perspectives. Notice in the winter the trees, which bend in the ice storm, preserve their branches, but the ones who resist are destroyed. So end your anger. Permit yourself to change, for I, as a younger man, may state my views. It be best if by nature men understood all things. If not, which is usually the case, when others speak well, it is good to learn from them.
There is good sense, my lord, in what this young man has said, as there is good sense in the things which you have said, which it may seem appropriate for him to learn from. The things which you have both said are both excellent, and you are both in the right.
And men, Maya, are we then to be schooled by the young and inexperienced, from boys and children?
There is nothing wrong in it. And if I am young, do not look at my age, but rather look at what I do, and hear what I say.
What you do? Does that include praising those who break our laws?
I would not encourage anyone to break our laws.
And Antigone, did she not break the law?
The city says she acted justly.
So the city will now instruct me on how I am to govern.
Please, Father, you're speaking like a petulant child. Don't you see that?
So am I to rule this country at the whim of the mob, rather than by my own wisdom?
A city which belongs to one man is no true city.
According to our laws, does not the ruler own the city? It seems as if this boy is fighting on the woman's behalf.
That's true. If you are the woman, I'm concerned for your honor.
And yet you set your judgment against me.
Only when I see you making a horrible mistake.
Is it a mistake to honor my own law?
It's a law goes against the laws of the gods.
You weak, emotional fool! You're more insidious than that woman!
What is it that you want? To speak and never have to listen to anyone's reply?
You plead for this woman against the order of your father and king!
I plead for your honor! I plead for the people! I plead for the dead!
I see what this is now. You will never marry this girl. Not while she's alive, anyway.
Then she will die, and in her death you kill your son with her.
Are you really so insolent that you will threaten me?
What's a threat in challenging an unjust order?
You'll regret this insolence, son. I swear.
If you were not my father, I might say you are a fool.
Is that right? You will watch as she is executed, and see what comes of those who defy my laws.
No, Father, I will not watch you kill her to prove what a big man you are. Please, by all means, carry on raging in front of your lackeys, who will sheepishly watch as you disgrace yourself and the gods, but I will not!
My lord, I fear young Haemon may do something rash.
There is nothing he can do to stop me or save these girls. Their fates are sealed.
Are you going to kill them both?
No, you're right. Not the one whose hands are clean. See, I can listen to the will of the people when it is sensible.
How do you plan to kill Antigone?
She will be taken on a path that no one uses, to a cave in the cliffs where she will be walled in, alive. Provisions will be placed inside with her, as much as piety requires to ensure that the city is not punished for her death. There she can pray to Hades to save her, or else she can learn, although too late, what a waste it was to throw her life away to honor those whom Hades holds.
Look at me, my fellow citizens, as I set out on my final journey. As I gaze upon my native sky one last time, feeling its warmth on my face.
Surely you carry fame and praise with you as you move to the deep homes of the dead.
You were not stricken by a lethal disease,
Nor paid your way with the sword, no.
You take hold of fate.
Defying a king for love of your brother.
Defying laws of man for laws of gods.
Do you mock me? Why do you, the richest men in Thebes, insult me? Are you so eager to make fun of me that you won't even wait for me to die? Even though you see the laws which led me to my tomb, you keep silent through such injustice and choose rather to mock me to gain favor with your king!
You pushed your daring to excess and tripped against the law's high altar.
Powerful men.
Who in their persons embody authority.
Cannot bear anyone to break their laws, hence you die because of your own selfish will.
Remember my father's long agony and the curse on my suffering family. So much grief from the unlucky chance of the son finding the mother's bed, and worse than anything, the benighted offspring of that unspeakable marriage that I, with my brothers and sister, have had to endure. And now, without lament, without friend, and without a marriage song, I am being put to my death. One more cursed soul in the line of Oedipus, so wretched that I no longer have the right to even look upon the sun, that sacred fire. My fate prompts no tears, no friend mourns, no one defends against such injustice!
Enough! Take her and wall her into the cave as I have ordered. Then leave her to her fate. If the gods will it, she lives. And if not, we bear no guilt for her death.
O city of my fathers and this land of Thebes and my ancestral gods. Look on me, you lords of Thebes. See my reward for honoring the dead. See the type of men who punish me for paying reverence and piety to my brother and the gods.
come with a vision from Apollo.
What news do you bring, O TEIRESIAS?
I will tell you, will you obey the prophet?
I have never rejected your advice before.
And for that, like a sensible captain, you have avoided the jagged rocks.
I freely admit it, as all do. We are in your debt.
Then know this. Your life is once more on fate's razor's edge. As I sat in my ancient place, receiving omens from the flights of birds, a note among those birds, unknown cries, evil, unintelligible, angry, shrieking. At once I knew that they were tearing at each other with murderous claws. As their noisy wings revealed, my mind was filled with fear. Immediately upon the blazing altar, I sent burnt offerings, but shining Apollo refused to enter in that place and partake in the sacrifice. Dark slime poured out onto the embers, oozing from the thighs which smoked and spat. Bile was sprayed high into the air, and the melting meat lost all the fat which was wrapped in it. The rites failed. There was no prophecy revealed in them. Listen now to what I say. Our state is festering and sick. Your policies have done this. In the city, our altars and our hearths have been defiled, all of them, with the rotting flesh brought there by the birds and dogs from Oedipus and Polyneices, who lies are dead. The gods will no longer take our sacrifices, our prayers, our offerings burnt in fire. No bird will call out a clear sign to us, for they have gorged themselves and fattened blood from the dead man's flesh. Consider this, my son. All men make mistakes, that is not uncommon. But when they do, they are no longer foolish or subject to the suffering if they try to fix the evil into which they have fallen. But men who put their stubbornness on display invite accusations of stupidity. So hear me now. Make concessions with the dead. Why stop a man who is already killed? What is the glory of killing a dead person again and again?
Old man, you come here to attack me with your false prophecies. I know your kind well. Go and make money with your lies if it's what you need to do. Trade with Sardis for their gold and silver, or for gold from India. But do not presume to peddle your fear-mongering here. You'll never weave enough words to bury that corpse in any grave so long as I live and breathe. Even if Zeus's eagle should choose to seize his festering corpse and take it right up to his godly throne, not even then would I, in trembling fear of some defilement, permit that traitor a burial. Let me tell you this, TEIRESIAS. Any man can fall, especially if he pretends to give evil prophecy for his own gain, play to inconstant desires of the masses to win their favor over that of the kings.
Alas, does any man know or think about
Think about what? What those who feel sorry for a rebellious woman want.
How good advice is worth more than all possessions to one who rules.
I think that's true. As much as stupidity is what harms us most.
Yet that is the sickness now infecting you.
I will not debase myself by insulting a prophet when I already know what is right.
But that is what you are doing when you claim my oracles are false.
All know that the tribe of prophets, all of them are fond of money.
And kings, your tribe looks to benefit from this honesty.
You do realize that you are speaking of the man who rules over your life.
Know that thanks to my prophecies, you have saved the city which you now control.
You're a wise prophet, TEIRESIAS, but you love to spread mischief.
I warn you, Creon. Do not force me to speak of the divine secrets locked inside of my heart.
There is nothing that you can say to sway my mind. The girl will die for defying the law.
Then understand this well. You will not see the son complete another sucker before you lose a child of your own lords. A corpse for a corpse, a bride for a bride. You have buried the one still living, a woman who moves and breathes. You have given to the grave, and the dead man you have left unwashed, unwept, and without the common courtesy of a decent covering of the earth, so that both have been wronged. and the gods of the underworld, to whom the body justly belonged, are denied it and are insulted. You usurp ancient rights which even the gods themselves do not dare to question, powers which are not in possession of kings. Your arrogance has sent a living soul to Hades, leaving a body owned by the gods exposed in the field, unburied, dispossessed, unsanctified. In this you are like the ones below, and so now terrible avengers await you, furies of Hades and the gods, who will see you punished for your wickedness. Now, see if I speak as someone who seeks riches. It won't be long before the men and women of your own house cry out in sorrow, and the cities rise in hate against you. You will not be able to escape their pain. I leave you now to dwell in your own misery.
My lord, I know well that here in this city he has never uttered a false prophecy.
Don't you think I know that? Now my mind is filled with terror. It's shameful to give way, but to resist and let destruction hammer down upon my house, that is far more terrifying.
You must to listen to good counsel, my lord.
Tell me what to do and I will do it.
Go and release the girl from her prison tomb and prepare a grave for Polyneices' corpse.
You think I should concede? This is your advice.
Yes, as quickly as possible.
Though it is shameful, I will not do what I have set my heart upon. I cannot fight against this dire prophecy.
Go now and do this thing.
Since I am the one who sentenced her, I shall go and set her free myself. Yes, while one lives, the best thing may well be to follow our established laws. I shall go and free the girl.
Mother city of Thebes, above the double mountain peaks.
And from the ivy-covered slopes of Nisus Hill.
From the green shores so rich in vines, you come to us.
Visiting our Theban ways, while deathless voices all cry out in honor of your name,
Dionysus. Appear with your attendant Maenads,
who dance in frenzy all night long, for you, their glorious patron.
Bring healing and rebirth, and let our anguish cease.
They're dead, and we who still live bear the responsibility.
Who's dead? Antigone?
And the king's son by his own hand.
Oh, TEIRESIAS, your prophecy has come to pass. Creon's wife, noble EURYDICE.
Citizens of Thebes, I had heard fearful words as I was going off to pray. I heard someone speaking of such horrors befalling my family. Tell me, is it true, please? Do not hide it from me. I am no stranger to misfortune. Tell me now, is it true?
Dear lady, I'll speak of what I saw, omitting not one detail of the truth. I went to the field accompanying your husband as his guide. Polyneices' corpse, still unlamented, was laying there, and apart by dogs. We prayed to Hades and to Hecate, goddess of the road, through their goodwill, to restrain the rage. We washed the corpse and burned what was left of it on freshly cut branches. We piled up a high tomb of his native earth. We then went to the chamber where the young girl was entombed. As we approached the place, one man heard a voice cry out from the chamber, a terrible cry. He went to tell our master Creon, who as he approached the place, heard the sound. An unintelligible scream of sorrow. He groaned and then he spoke out these bitter words.
As misery made me a prophet now, and am I traveling along the road that takes me to the worst of all disasters? I've just heard the voice of my own son. You servants, go ahead. Get up there quickly to see if that was Haemon's voice I heard, or if the gods have been deceiving.
Following what our desperate master asked, we looked. In the furthest corner of the tomb was Antigone, hanging by the neck, held up by a noose of finely woven linen. Haemon had his arms around her waist and was embracing her and crying out in sorrow for the loss of his bride, now among the dead, his father's work. Creon let out a fearful groan as he rushed into the cave.
My boy, my poor boy, come out, my child. I'm begging you. Please, come.
The boy just looked at him with savage eyes. He spat at him without saying a word, got his knife and cut down his lost love. Feeling the lifeless body in his arms, he took the knife and turned it on his father. Creon saw him go back, so the boy failed to strike, but in a fury he took the knife, diving it deep into his own chest. He stumbled to the girl and embraced her in his weak arms as he breathed his last. Corpse, their marriage promise fulfilled in the chambers of the dead.
I fear the queen's silence. Please go after her, see that she is safe and does not do anything terrible.
Cruelty and arrogance that's only brought on death. Mistakes made by a foolish old man. The profanity of what I commanded. Oh, my son, why? Why did he have to die? He was so young. Now you're dead. Gone. Not by your own foolishness, but by mine. I did this. I killed my only son.
They say that deep suffering can give great wisdom, my lord.
Suffering is the only teacher. The gods have broken me, whipped me like a beast in the fields, destroyed me. All pleasure, all rejoicing, they have turned to pain and horror. Where is that sound? Where is EURYDICE? Where is my wife? Where is the queen?
My lord, the gods pile evil upon evil. Your wife is dead, my lord, by her own hand. Thrusting a knife into her heart at the altar, she cried out in sorrow for the loss of Haemon. With her last breath, she spoke a curse filled with suffering against you, the killer of her son.
There's still more evils in the world than all of this. Can nothing bring these horrors to an end? Is there more savagery, more blood, more pain? Why? You kill a man and kill him again, and again, and again. Slaughter on slaughter, my wife, my son. My son's body lies lifeless, and now I must mourn my wife too. Alone, alone in this suffering. The guilt for all of this is mine. I will never be washed clean of it. Take me too! Hades, come for me, please! I am begging you! I'm dead already. First son, then mother.
go mad with this horror.
Unyielding wills,
set against each other,
both right in practice and in law,
refusing compromise,
bringing destruction to all,
who wins when all fall,
brittle and broken under the weight of
right and wrong,
speaking without listening, teaching without learning,
judging without understanding.
The path to happiness is to nurture
Wisdom
in your heart,
to listen to those who disagree with
to
you,
be open to compromise when it is wise,
to be willing to bend when the storm threatens all.
Today it has happened here.
with our own eyes we have seen and known man
Through suffering become wise.